Assalamualaikum, welcome to Darwinian Delusions. We're going to make a history video today about, we're in this like 19th, 20th century building, right?
Yeah.
And so this is a
18th
good
century.
18th century.
Yeah.
So Kenwood House,
Yeah.
mashallah, there's a lake here and a beautiful house. Victorians, when this is not their period, right? This is before the Victorians?
Well, it is Victorians, yes. Afterwards, in the 1830s, the family lived here.
Okay, so this is the age of empire time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think is the link between Darwin's theory of evolution and British colonial projects?
I think Darwin's theory was used to assert superiority over other so-called inferior races of the world. So Victorians and other European powers later on used Darwin's theory to assert this superiority, this so-called scientific or superiority supported by science in their view, and they brutalized many nations as a result. That's why a lot of scholars, social scientists, and even anthropologists, they believe Darwin's theory was used in many negative ways to commit atrocities around the world, especially during the colonial project.
So what if I was to ask you a question based upon the descent of man? So in the descent of man, Darwin is talking about people as savages. He's talking about Europeans being the most, white people being essentially the most civilized.
Yeah.
But then amongst
the
white,
most evolved.
the most, in terms of hierarchy being number one. But also his belief was that the British were better than the other whites, right? What if somebody says to you, as a historian, says, well, Darwin was making a descriptive claim, not a prescriptive claim. He wasn't saying, go and do this.
Yeah.
He was just merely describing the state of nature.
Even if we were to take it as a descriptive claim, it was used for prescriptive purposes later on. So his descriptions of what he saw in nature were used to prescribe certain realities. For example, the superiority claim over uncivilized, unevolved, or not fully evolved races. Okay, so Darwin's theory was even picked on by Karl Marx and Engels, and later on even Hitler was a fan of Darwin's theory because he tried to create this pure German race. And I always respond to Darwin's claims or Darwinian claims, even though these claims have been debunked now. No one would, in his right mind, no one would actually support that theory anymore, and that's because colonial project is over. You can't be racist anymore. Colonial powers were openly racist, and they try to justify this racism by using science theories like Darwin's theory of evolution, right? But if we look at, let's say, if we were to consider Darwin's claim seriously, that English race is the most evolved race, which was absolutely absurd, no doubt, okay, then where is the civilization here? 1,000 years ago, we don't see any stone castles.
Stonehenge and the pyramids.
No, and yeah, exactly. So non-white races were far more civilized, if we were to argue from that way, from that perspective. Like civilization started in Mesopotamia, there was civilization
Guatemala,
in India, Indus Valley, Guatemala, Mexico. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this was an absolutely absurd claim. We have far more research today on these topics than Darwin did in the 19th century.
And just for further information, Richard Weichart's book, From Darwin to Hitler, he goes over the chronology from Ernst Haeckel, Darwin, all the way to what the Nazis did. And Yuval Noah Harari, in his book Sapiens, he talks about how the most prestigious universities in the West were churning out racist data using science, and this was buried not because of scientific contentions, but because of what the Nazis actually did. So what we learn from this is you can't use the claim that is purely descriptive to challenge the fact that it was used prescriptively.
And even today, some neo-atheists are using science to assert superiority over people of religion. They think that religious people are backward, they are underdeveloped, or they are unevolved. Okay, they need to evolve more.
Well, we had some racist comments recently from a well-respected evolutionary biologist. It was James Watson who made some racist comments.
Some people make this connection between the white supremacist movement and neo-atheism as well.
And race realism and these types
exactly,
of things.
Exactly. So it's very important to learn from these historic facts so that we don't repeat history again and again, right? It's happening today, by the way. Okay, you may condemn Darwin or people who abused his theory, let's say, right, later on. But It's happening today.
Yeah.
It's happening right now. People are using certain scientific views or views on science to claim things that are socially destructive.
Yeah.
So this is very, very important for us to learn from history and have some level of tolerance and respect for others.
Absolutely.
Okay? Disagree respectfully.
Absolutely.